What is the happiest thing in your life right now?
Appreciation.
Shut up, J. Cole. You're rich. There will always be a thin line between feeling like you're settling and appreciating your situation. And you're supposed to appreciate your situation. We all know that to a certain extent, but you also are supposed to grow in every aspect of your life. The whole point of us being here, in my opinion, is to grow as a human being. And if you just stay in the same spot, you can't grow. And naturally, most of us will be in a box. It will feel like we're in a box for a majority of our lives. We're just in the same spot. And there's so many distractions out there that it's hard to differentiate if you're actually developing or you're just riding the wave. And I'm talking about this personally. And the main reason I make these videos is not to have an actual thing at the end of it where I'm like, okay, this is what it is. I usually make these videos so I can find people that have the like-minded information or they have the like-minded thinking of me. Since my channel was so small, the only way I can hear other people's opinion on this situation is TikTok, and I'm gonna show you that in the moment. But when I went on TikTok and I typed in appreciation versus settling, they was mostly talking about relationships, which is fine because that's another aspect. In my opinion, that's one of the huge aspects because everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be in a relationship eventually. May not want to be that in your prime because you're out here living life. But when you do settle down, you don't want to settle when you settle down. Ain't that crazy?
How many people do you think are just settling in their relationships? Because I feel like it's a lot.
But when it comes to life, we can backtrack and talk about life for a second. I definitely settled without even knowing it. I'm talking about got to a job, I was cool with that job, went through the motions, and I just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there for years and years. You want me to tell you how long I was there? Do not judge me when I say this, but 16 years, 16 and some months. And the only reason I left is because I literally couldn't do it anymore. My body couldn't do it because I worked two jobs. And eventually I found out that rich people don't work two jobs. They have a lot of sources of income, but they don't work two jobs. They don't just give up their time to these establishments and just stay there for a long period of time. Now, my goal is not to be rich, but I did want to be happy, and that did not make me happy. Okay, that definitely felt like settling to, once I got out of that box that I spoke of earlier. When I finally got out of that box, I was fantastic. But in the same breath, I just leaned more on the appreciation side. So I wasn't doing anything horrible to a certain, there's pros and cons to everything. I just was appreciating my situation so much that I didn't see anything better than what I was doing. I felt like, okay, this is good. I need to just feel like I'm blessed and be okay with it. But there has to be a certain balance. And I learned that later on. Are you finished me talking? You want to hear somebody else talk? Let's go to TikTok and hear other people's opinion.
I want to have a deeper talk about settling because settling won't save you. It never will. The only thing settling has ever done for you is teach you how to survive a life you were never meant to stay in. It didn't bring any peace. It didn't bring safety. It didn't bring wisdom. It just taught you how to endure the slow disappearance of yourself without ever making a sound. And people think that settling means choosing less than you deserve. And that's not it at all. And just to help you understand it, settling is not a mean choice. It's not cynical. It's not cruel. Almost no one wakes up and says, I'll betray myself today. No one says that. Settling is what happens when survival gets mistaken for wisdom.
Dude was spitting facts. He also was talking really fast, and I couldn't keep up with him. But he did make a good point. And when I seen the video, it made me think about the quote that I heard from a rapper. It said, if you knew better, you would do better.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but listen. Stop settling for things that you're really not okay with. You're draining yourself, and that's time that you cannot get back. You deserve better, and you know that. Stop settling for less when you're worth so much more.
I always think to myself as I go through life, why do people stay in the same spot? It just seems like a lot of people that I've been around for a long time that were older than me, and when I was younger, I looked up to them. But then when I got older and they had the same mindset, I'm like, okay, how are we equaling out when you've been on this earth longer than me? And I always thought to myself, why do they stay in that same predicament? And a lot of them just don't know better. It's hard to say that now because we live in a situation where it's a lot of information that we can get easily. You can type in on Google and get information. Not saying it's always going to be right, but information is everywhere. And yes, you could use that, but you also have to, it's all about your perception of what you go through. Because you can go through the same thing over and over again, but if you're not seeing the lesson within that situation, then you're not going to grow. And I feel like a lot of people, everybody's going through stuff, but it's like they may take drugs to numb the pain. They may drink a little alcohol. They may, do whatever they do just to numb the pain. And when you numb something, it's kind of like watching a movie and the commercial comes on. You're just pausing what actually is going on. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but when I used to watch movies on TV and the commercial would come on, it would take me a few seconds once the movie came back on to even know what was going on again. I got lost. I'm like, I forgot what the hell was going on when them commercials was going on. My whole point is, the reason why people stay the same is because they don't know better, or they don't choose to want better. Because that's also a thing too. The minute you choose and be like, I want better for myself, you're going to start looking for stuff. You're going to start trying to attract things, and you're going to, your perceptions are going to change. You're going to be like, oh, maybe I should eat better. Maybe I should start working out. And energy is going to come back to you. And whatever you put out, you get back. That's why they stay the same. Let's go to the next video.
Do you want to know if you're settling? Well, here are 3 questions you can ask yourself. Number 1, have I stopped wanting things?
Look, every video I've seen, they either had copyrighted music or it was just bad what they were saying. I only found a couple videos on TikTok. I'm sorry, I thought it was going to be more. It's not. The main thing is settling. It has a certain level of being humble, which is fantastic because now you have room for improvement, but you also want to do better. You should also want more for yourself. As time go on in life, yeah, you're going to just have a certain level of appreciation because you're going to see things and go through things where you're like, I'm glad I'm not that, and I'm happy for this. But in the same breath, life is all about balance. It's all about balance. That's what it is. You got to have a certain level of being humble, but you also have to have a certain level of wanting more for yourself always. Settling is not really a good thing in my opinion, because I think that it's things that we put inside our head. It's kind of like sometimes we're, stuck in a bad situation for so long that we just be like, okay, this is it. This is the best for me. Or my favorite thing is when people be so low, they be so low in their life that their cap may be a low point of your life. And what I mean by that is people be hitting rock bottom. So anything above rock bottom is cool with them. They're like, okay, I'm good. I don't need anything else. And to me, that's not good. You're just tricking your mind. Don't trick your mind. I feel like everybody deserves greatness. As long as you put in the work, you deserve that greatness. And if you're putting in the work and you don't get that greatness, it doesn't matter. You still deserve it. You'll just see the results in a different way. That's it. You'll just see the results in a different way, and it's going to be way better. It's not always going to be with money. It's not always going to be with materialistic things. It may be other things. You growing as a person, that great energy that you're putting out. I sound like I sound like a motivational speaker, and that's not the goal. I'm just trying to say real stuff. Don't settle. You deserve more. There's definitely a thin line between appreciating your situation and feeling like you're settling. And I don't know where that thin line is, because every time I start appreciating my situation, I feel like I'm settling.